Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopigana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopigana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopigana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopigana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Srimad bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 57, starting with the summary and then going through the verses starting with text 1. Chapter 57, Satyajit murdered, the jewel returned. This chapter describes how Lord Krishna, after the murder of Satyajit, killed Sadadanva and had Akrura bring the Shamataka jewel back to Dwarka. When Lord Sri Krishna heard that the Pandavas had supposedly been burnt to death in the palace of Lak, he went to Hastinapura with Lord Baladeva to maintain the principles of worldly protocol. Even though being omniscient, he knew the report was false. With Krishna out of Dwarka, Akrura and Kritavama incited Sadadanva to steal a Shamataka jewel from Satyajit. Bewildered by their words, the sinful Sadadanva murdered King Satyajit in his sleep and stole the gem. When Queen Satyabhama was overcome with grief at the death of her father, and she rushed to Hastinapur to report the sorrowful news to Sri Krishna. Together, Sadadanva went now. The sorrowful news to Krishna. Together with Lord Baladeva, Krishna then returned to Dwarka to kill Sadadanva. Sadadanva went to Akrura and Kritavama to beg for help, but when they refused, he left the jewel with Akrura and fled for his life. Krishna and Balaram pursued him, and Lord Krishna beheaded him with his sharp-edged disc. When the Lord could not find the Shamataka jewel on Sadadanva's person, Baladeva told him that Sadadanva must have left it in someone else's care. Baladeva further suggested that Krishna return to Dwarka to find the jewel, while he, Baladeva, would take the opportunity to visit the king of Videha. Thus, Lord Balaram travelled to Mithila and remained there for a few years, during which he taught King Duryodhana the art of fighting with a club. Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka and had the funeral rites performed for Satyajit. When Akrura and Kritavama heard how Sadadanva had met his death, they fled Dwarka. Soon many kinds of disturbances, mental, physical and so on, began to afflict Dwarka, and the citizens concluded that the cause of these troubles must be Akrura's exile. The city elders explains, once there was a drought in Benares, and the king of the region gave his daughter in marriage to Akrura's father, who was visiting Benares at the time. As a result of this gift, the drought ended. The elders, thinking Akrura had the same power as his father, declared that Akrura should be brought back. Lord Krishna knew that Akrura's exile was not the main cause of the disturbances. Still, he had Akrura brought back to Dwarka, and after properly honoring him with worship and greeting him with sweet words, Krishna told him, I know Saradamba left the jewel in your care. Since Satyajit has no sons, his daughter's offspring are the just claimants to whatever property he has left behind. Nonetheless, it would be best for you to keep the troublesome jewel in your care. Just let me show it once to my relatives. Akrura presented Krishna with the jewel, which shone as brightly as the sun, and after the Lord had shown it to his family members, he returned it to Akrura. So, interestingly enough, the description of the jewel, the troublesome jewel, this is Krishna was saying, it is a troublesome jewel, even though it had so much good effect, produced so much gold as we read yesterday. And also, wherever the jewel was, there was no calamities, there was no unwanted disturbances. But overall, or at least at the end, the jewel became troublesome, and so many bad things happened because of the jewel. And of course, we remember yesterday, we were saying that Krishna had instructed Satyajit to give the jewel to King Ugrasena. So, because of Satyajit's neglecting the instruction of Krishna, he had to get reaction. And furthermore, when his brother Prasena was killed, of course by the lion, Akrura spread the rumor, the bad rumor, that actually Krishna had plotted, and actually it was Krishna who arranged that his brother Prasena was killed. So these are very serious offences to the Supreme Lord. He gave instruction, and then to compound it all, even more serious offence that Krishna had killed Satyajit's brother. So we'll start from 57.1. I'll just read the verses. See, Badarani said, Badarani, Sukadeva, because he started yesterday living at Badrikashram. Badarani. Although Lord Govinda was fully aware of what had actually occurred, when he heard reports that the Pandavas of Queen Kunti had burned to death, he went with Lord Balaram to the kingdom of the Kurus to fulfill their family obligations expected of him. Therefore, the Lord was quite aware that the Pandavas had escaped the assassination plot of Duryodhana, while the world heard the false news that the Pandavas and their mother had perished in the fire. So this is another story, very interesting story you can read in the Bhagavatam and also, of course, in the Mahabharata about this plot of Duryodhana to kill the Pandavas. He was envious, very envious of Yudhisthira. His fame and his religiosity was growing like anything, and so he thought that for sure. Now Duryodhana was the son of King Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was the older brother, so rightfully Duryodhana should have become the king, but because Dhritarashtra, his father, was blind, he handed the kingdom to his younger brother Pandu. But Pandu ruled the kingdom, so therefore because he ruled the kingdom, his children, especially the eldest, had the rightful claim to the throne. But Duryodhana always felt resentful that really he should have got it. And so so many times his envy grew and grew, and then he thought, I'll get rid of these Pandavas. Not only will I kill Yudhisthira, but I'll kill all of them, because generally in the family, when it goes to the eldest son, the next in line is the next younger brother. So he thought, well, even if I kill Yudhisthira, then the next younger brother Bhimsen will become the king. So, and then if he dies, then Arjuna will become the king, and so on and so forth. So they'll let me kill the whole family, and Kunti as well, the mother, and then no one can do anything. Maybe Kunti will have other sons, who knows what the mentality. When one becomes, as we've been saying, when one becomes very greedy and envious, they'll do anything. They're capable of doing anything. So this was such a cruel, and he had his, now if I remember, Puruchana. Puruchana was an architect, one of the chief architects for Duryodhana, and he summoned him. I want you to build a big house, Ranavatra, what's the name of that place? And there's a big festival happening there. Big festival happening there, and so I want you to build a big house, but that house should be made of flammable materials. Flammable means easy to burn, fats and lac, oils, very easy to burn. And so he had the plot. So Puruchana understood what the plan, and he said, keep this secret, very secret thing. And so Puruchana had that house built. After some time, Duryodhana had invited the Pandavas to go to the festival, and they arrived there, and they participated in all the events, unsuspecting anything. But it was Vidura who sent a message to Yudhisthira in a coded way, that actually I've read that he sent it in the language of the Malechas, in a language not very well known. So it was a very coded way, explaining to him what the plan of Duryodhana was, that on a certain day, a certain date, the plan was while they were sleeping, they would set fire to the house. So now, this coded message was done, and Vidura understood that only Yudhisthira could understand it. He didn't want even the other brothers to understand it, because he thought that the more people who know, the more the opportunity to leak out. And so if it leaked out that they knew about the plot, then perhaps Duryodhana would make another arrangement. So Vidura thought that only Yudhisthira could know, and keep it a secret. In that message, you keep it a secret. And he told him everything. So meanwhile, Vidura had sent one of his engineers and to make a tunnel. Secretly make a tunnel. So he said, keep everything secret. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell your mother or anyone, your wives, don't tell anyone. So one of the engineers of Vidura went there and secretly, and it's explained that even from he dug underneath, he came in and dug underneath secretly, and the entrance going up into the house was like in the middle of the house, but it was to be opened at the last moment. So this was dug underneath the house so the Pandavas could secretly escape. So they knew exactly when the day was and the date was, even the timing in the evening, late at night. The plan was that late at night, in the midnight hour, when everyone was asleep. So they knew like that. So when the time came, of course Yudhisthira, he decided to hold a big festival and invite so many people to the house, and then everyone went home after the festival. This is on the day, when he knew it was going to be set fire. But there was one mother who came with her 5 sons, and unfortunately for that family, they became very, very intoxicated, and unbeknownst to everyone in a corner, they all just fell asleep. And so when the time came near, the Pandavas, Yudhisthira told everything. He said that this Puruchana is going to set fire to this big palace here, where we have to escape incognito, secretly. So they went down the tunnel, they were set fire, and Puruchana, Bhimsena, stayed back a little bit when he was told everything, and he threw Puruchana on the fire. But Puruchana himself was killed. This is a very interesting story. The intrigue, the lengths that Duryodhana went to killing the Pandavas by the river one time, especially Bhimsena. He was very envious of Bhimsena. He said that he wasn't. He thought that the Pandavas were very powerful, but all of them Bhimsena he had to worry about. So he so many times the Pandavas in general, Bhimsena with the poison cake, and so many times he tried to kill them. So the place was burnt down and to ashes, and then some people saw that Purichana, and then they saw one lady and 5 men burnt. So they assumed this was the Pandava. So this is what is referred to here, and this is referred to here. So here it is said that Govinda was fully aware of what occurred. He is omniscient. This is a point that is made here in the summary, that the Supreme Personality of God is omniscient. He knows everything that's going on at every moment. Why? He is everywhere. Krishna is in the atoms. And so he knows. From him time comes. He is Kalo, Smi, Lokachit Pravido. I am the time. Time I am. He knows everything. So he's omniscient. So one time I said to the devotees, how does Krishna know everything? Because he's everywhere. He is everywhere simultaneously, in every universe, in every atom, and he's all-knowing. His knowledge is unlimited. If we were everywhere, maybe we could know many things also. But even then our knowledge is limited, even if we're everywhere. But one of the reasons is Krishna is everywhere, omniscient, knowing all. He's everywhere and he just knows. On top of that, he knows everything. And so, but nevertheless, he was playing the part of the king, and here it is said, although he knew what actually occurred, he heard the reports, and he received the reports just like everyone else received them. And here it's explained that the Lord dutifully went to the place, to the Hastinapur, and as far as the family obligations, when there's death in the family and so on and so forth, all the family members come together to offer the condolences and perform the rituals and observe the ceremonies. So Krishna did the same thing, although he knew everything. So he's playing the part. I'll read through. The 2 lords met with Bhishma, Kripa, Vidura, Gandhari, and Drona. Showing sorrow equal to theirs, they cried out, "Alas, how painful this is." So here is purport. Srila Swami points out that those who were involved in the assassination attempt were, of course, not at all sorry to hear of the Pandava's death. Duryodhana, of course, now his plan was fully realized. He was, externally, he was, a very bad thing, the Pandavas have died. But internally, he was very happy. Such is the deceit of someone who is very envious. They can show they're very friendly with you, but inside they're always plotting how to hurt you, how to punish you. So Duryodhana was like that. So externally, he was showing and crying, but alas, how painful. And Krishna joined with them, although he knew everything as well. He was joining, and these personalities were genuinely, pain. Bhishma, Kripa, Vidura, Gandhari, because Vidura knew everything as well. Gandhari and Drona. Gandhari, of course, was Dhritarashtra's wife. Dronacharya, they were very favourably disposed to the Pandavas, but the others were not. So we'll read through. Taking advantage of this opportunity, O King of Kura and Kritavama went to Sadadanva and said, "Why not take the Shamantaka jewel?" And purport, Akura and Kritavama reasoned that since Krishna and Balaram were absent from Dwarka, Satyajit could be killed and the jewel stolen. Sridhar Swami mentioned that these two must have flattered Sadadanva, telling him, you are much braver than we are, so you kill him. It's a very interesting story, hard to understand how a pure devotee like Akura and Kritavama could be involved in this plot of, more or less, plot of assassination, a plot of murder. It's explained in the next verse. Luckily, we've got our acharyas to explain this. Next verse. Satyajit promised his jewel-like daughter to us, but then gave her to Krishna instead, contemptuously neglecting us. So why should Satyajit not follow his brother's path? Here, purport. Since Satyajit's brother Prasenna had been violently killed, the implication of following his brother's path was obvious. What we have here is an assassination plot. It is well known that both Akura and Kritavama are exalted pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, so their unusual behavior requires some explanation. The Acharyas provided as follows. Srila Jiva Goswami states that Akrura, although a first-class pure devotee of the Lord, was a victim of the anger directed against him by the residents of Gokul because he took Lord Krishna away from Vrindavan. That's one explanation. He had to get some reaction because he was summoned by Kamsa. Kamsa was his cousin. From what I remember, Kamsa was his cousin, and he was the king. And he had imprisoned his own father. Actually, Ugrasena was the king, but he imprisoned him and just became the king. So he was the cousin. So Akrura, when he was commanded by the king, King Kamsa, he had to go. And actually, he was looking forward to meeting Lord Krishna and Balaram. But of course, when he took Lord Krishna and Balaram away from Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan were very attached to Krishna and Balaram. And internally they were almost like, it doesn't mention they were cursing, but they were thinking that how he has come and taken Krishna and Balaram away from us. So here, Jiva Goswami said that there was some sort of reaction because he had taken away Krishna and Balaram. So that was one explanation. Was a victim of the anger directed at him, and he acted as a victim of the anger. They were angry with him. So the residents of Vrindavan, and the gopis especially, were angry with Akrura that now he was taking their beloved Krishna and the beloved Balaram away from their direct association. So that's one explanation. The Goswami further states that Kritavama had associated with Kamsa, both of them being members of the Bhoja dynasty, and thus Kritavama was now suffering from this undesirable association. And sometimes can happen, even great elevated devotees. If one has continuous bad association, then that can have an effect. It's like Banasura, he kidnapped those princesses, kept them in prison, and they had to fight against Krishna, and explained that Bhaumasura, Narakasura, was the direct son of Bhumi Devi and Lord Varaha. And how is it that he acted in such a way, and it's explained that he, due to association with his Bhaumasura. So due to bad association, even great personalities can act very strangely considering their position. But we also have to remember that this is all going on under the what's called the Leela Shakti, or the Yogamaya Leela Shakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, just like when Krishna appeared in Mathura, he ordered the Yogamaya to take the child born of Mother Yasoda, Nanda, and bring her, and then Vasudeva was going to take Krishna there. So all these things are Leela Shakti going on under the direction of Krishna. So this is also intertwined in this whole thing. So undesirable association, pure devotees also have to be very, very careful. They're pure devotees, but still they're very cautious. And going on, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur offers alternate explanation. Akrura and Kritavama were furious with Satyajit because he had insulted Lord Krishna and spread false rumors about him in Dwarka. And so they were very angry. They were very, and when, as we were saying, that because as we were saying, just have to turn it up. That along with not following Krishna's instructions to give the Shamataka jewel to King Ugrasena, later on when Prasena was killed, when Prasenna was killed, he spread false rumors that Krishna had killed Prasenna. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that they were furious. Both Akrura and Satyajit were, Akrura and Kritavama were furious with Satyajit because he had dared to insult and offend the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they thought that the fitting punishment for someone like Satyajit, because he had spread such a malicious... Oh, that's from next week. Oh, no. He said he had spread such a malicious rumor, and that Krishna himself had to take action. And we were telling yesterday how Krishna decided that his reputation was now sullied by this accusation. And there was an accusation that he went with so many of the people of the Dwarka so they could witness what actually happened. And when they were going along, they saw Prasenna and the horse killed, and then they saw a little further along, they saw the lion killed. And so Krishna had to take this type of action. And so now, but here it's explained also, normally they would have been very happy with Krishna marrying Satyabhama, but they also had some feelings for Satyabhama, that maybe they should be married to Satyabhama. Being pure devotees, they couldn't actually be unhappy about this match, nor could they become jealous rivals of the Lord. Therefore, they had an ulterior motive in behaving like his rival. So, fortunately for us, if we were just to read this story, how could someone like Apura and Kritavama, who was the head of the army, the Narayan phalanx of the army of Krishna, and elevated devotees, being involved in this assassination? But fortunately, we get this explanation. Otherwise, we may start to doubt what is the position of pure devotees, how they can act in such a way. Also, they were acting as Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas, just there's a lot of duplicity and so on and so forth. Just to be in that particular order, you have to act sometimes cunningly, sometimes doing manipulations, such as politics. Normally, as Vaishnavas, we don't involve ourselves with the politics because of all this type of behavior. Everywhere in the world, in every country, the politicians, it's quite well known, sometimes it's a very dirty business. Sometimes very sneakingly, behind the back of this one, behind the back of the other one. You have to do many things that could cause harm to the other one. They take action as well, and it goes back and forward, so many intrigues. And we read about in the Mahabharata and so on and so forth, the story that in the Ramayana, the intrigues in the palace amongst the royal order. And so this is just the nature of that particular position in the material world. So as Vaishnavas, they were Vaishnavas, but we're more following in the Brahmana line rather than the Kshatriya line. Of course, as Vaishnavas, we can act sometimes as Brahmanas, as Kshatriyas, Vaishyas or Sudras doing service for Krishna. But we are not involving ourselves in mundane politics. We generally, it's all this kind of devotees are advised, don't take sides politically. Don't take sides politically. If you favour one political party over the other one, then automatically you become the enemy of the other party. So devotees should always remain neutral. We show respect. If some politician wants to show some favour to the devotees, we gladly accept. But we're not going to all of a sudden do the campaign for this one or do the campaign for the other one, because it can become very entangling, and the devotees can, and then you'll become like the enemy, and who knows what they plot. They sometimes plot. Are these Hare Krishna and their followers? They are the friends of our adversaries, so we have to take some action. We have to discredit them. We have to do so many things. maybe we'll plot to make some criminal charges again. Who knows what can happen? And this actually has happened. The devotees have taken up. We had some problem in Bangladesh just a few months back, more in the start of the year. One of the devotees who was kind of involved in ISKCON, but he went more outside ISKCON. Then later on he became involved in political party, and because of that he had to get some attack on him, and so on and so forth. So it's a very murky business, politics, mundane politics. So we remain neutral. So we see here all the intrigues here. Apurva. So there's many reasons given. Apurva thought that Satyajit should be killed for the rumor, the accusation of him of Krishna killing Prasenna. So we'll read on. Translation: his mind, thus influenced by their advice, wicked Satyadanda murdered Satyajit in his sleep, simply out of greed. In this way, the sinful Satyadanda shortened his own lifespan. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the word asatama indicates that Satyadanda was basically evil-minded and a firm hater of Satyajit. Now here is another level. I don't know the background, there's not much said about Satyadanda, but of course he was there, and from what I understand, he was the younger brother of Kritavama, so obviously a member of the Yadu dynasty. So just to be a member, some of them were descending, as I said the other morning, from the Krishna Loka to accompany Krishna. They are Prashada, they are eternal associates. And some of the other ones were demigods taking birth in the family of Krishna and the royal orders. Some of them were just people coming up, getting the opportunity to go and assist in the pastime. So there are many different types of personalities who were involved with Krishna at Dwarka. Krishna was giving opportunity. Not all of them were Prashada, eternal associates, descended from the spiritual world, enacting the pastime with Krishna, or some of them were in different categories. But nevertheless, all of them obviously were under Leela Shakti, Yoga Maya, that Krishna had arranged. Even later on we'll read about even the calamities that came on Dwarka after Apura left. Everyone thought that this is all due because Apura left, but actually the acharyas explain it as Krishna made these calamities so he could go and get Apura and bring him back. So, and very fortunately for us, we've got the acharyas to explain the inner reasons. They're empowered to know these things from within, and they know the thinking of people, and here the acharyas explain. So we'll read on. As the women of Satyajit's palace screamed and helplessly wept, Satyadanda took the jewel and left like a butcher after he has killed some animals. Just left him there, butchered him. What did he do? He murdered him in his sleep. When Satyabhama saw her dead father, she was plunged into grief, lamenting, my father, oh, I am killed." She fell unconscious. According to Jiva Goswami, Satyabhama's anguished feelings and words at the death of her father were prompted by Lord Krishna's pastime policy, Leela Shakti, prepare for the Lord's violent reaction against Satyadanda. So, Satyabhama, or again, this point about these personalities, she's one of the internal potencies of the Supreme Lord. And they're really, when someone's dying in the world, they know that the soul is separate from the body. So they understand. But so then, nevertheless, she reacted and crying, fell unconscious even. And here the acharyas explain, Jiva Goswami explains, this is all under the Leela Shakti, where Krishna can perform this pastime of going and killing this Satyadanda. Queen Satyabhama put her father's corpse in a large vat of oil and went to Hastinapur. This was quite common at the time. The body was preserved in oil, very pure oil, until all the ceremonies could be completed. I've read other incidents like that. It's not in the modern era, it's not so much done. But in those times, especially the royal order, not even the royal order, especially they were placed in oil, pure oil, to preserve the body. And when she sorrowfully told Lord Krishna, she went to Hastinapur, she went all the way to Hastinapur from Dwarka, long way, and told Krishna who was already aware of the situation about her father's murder. When Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram heard the news, they exclaimed, "Alas, this is the greatest tragedy for us." That's imitating the ways of human society. They imitated ordinary human beings. They were crying, "Alas, alas, Satyajit is killed." So we have to always remember, Krishna is always in the transcendental position. They lamented, their eyes brimming with tears. Krishna was crying when he heard the news. He knew already what was done. But he and Balaram, they were crying. Supreme Lord returned to his capital with his wife and elder brother. After arriving in Dwarka, he readied himself to kill Shatadanva and retrieve the jewel from him. Upon learning that Lord Krishna was preparing to kill him, Shatadanva was struck with fear. To save his life, he approached Kritabama and begged him for help. The Kritabama replied as follows: I dare not offend the Supreme Lords Krishna and Balaram. Indeed, how can one who troubles them expect any good fortune? Kamsa and all his followers lost both their wealth and their lives because of enmity toward them. After battling them 17 times, Jarasandha was left without even a chariot. Kritabama was not at all inclined to help. He was, he was a devotee of Krishna, and this unexpected turn, they didn't even foresee that Krishna and Balaram themselves directly were going to chase after Sadhguru. Sridhar Swami explains that Helanam indicates acting against the Lord's will, and Rijana indicates an offence against the Lord's. So we'll read on. His appeal refused. Shatadanva went to Akura and begged him for protection, but Akura similarly told him, who would oppose the two personalities of God if he knew their strength? It is the Supreme Lord who creates, maintains, and destroys this universe. Simply as his pastime, the cosmic creators cannot even understand his purpose, bewildered as they are by his illusory Maya. The purport, the use of the singular Ya, he who, indicates that the frequent references to the two Lords, Krishna and Rama, do not compromise the firm principle of monotheism expressed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. As explained in many Vedic literatures, the one Supreme Lord expands himself into innumerable forms, yet he remains the one and almighty God. For example, we have this statement in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. The one Supreme Lord is infallible and beginningless, and he expands himself into innumerable manifest forms out of regard for the spirit of the Lord's pastime, in which he expands himself and appears as his own older brother Balaram. In Bhagavatam here refers to the two Lords, but the bottom line is that there is one Supreme Godhead, one absolute truth who appears in his original form as Krishna. So this is especially the Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding, basic Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding. Although here, even in the Bhagavatam, the two Lords, the two gods, and just generally with the Hindus, they say there are many gods, so many gods. Hanuman is God, Shiva is God, Brahma is God, Indra is God. There are so many gods. They worship as many gods as possible. But here, two gods, Krishna and Balaram. But here also as explained, really there's one supreme original personality of God, and he expands to others. And Balaram is his immediate expansion. And because Balaram is playing the older brother of Krishna in this particular appearance, then deference is given to Balaram, and he is also called the Supreme Lord, the two Lords. There's two of them. But actually from Krishna Balaram. So this is very nicely explained here in the purport. So I think we can finish there today. And you can read on tomorrow from text 16 about how Krishna chases after Sadhguru. So thank you very much for attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Does anyone have any question or comment in regard to today's verse? Yes.
Thank you once again. It's very interesting, very nice story. Like about Satyajit, the son of Shamataka Jewel. Like I've read a lot of books like from Mahabharata, Krishna book, and then it's like we are part of Krishna's pastime as well. Like similarly, Krishna, like Duryodhana, was very envious to his own relatives, his family. Duryodhana, to the Pandavas. Instead of, they will be together, playing together, you know, as a family.
Yeah.
Since he was so envious, so he wanted to kill all like the Barnabas. So similarly here in this material world, like you have mentioned about politicians, then same time we are devotees Vaishnavas, so we should not play politically. So then
I read some time ago that the vice president threatened to kill the president over here. I read one article some time ago. She's a lady, the vice president,
she's a lady.
and she made some comment that the president Marcos, he should be killed. And so that was that we don't, even in a material world, we don't have the vice president threatening to kill the president. I always remember that the one article was like that. The vice president threatened to kill the president. And I don't know what action, I don't think much action was taken against her.
Maybe
But,
maybe that was only a rumor.
was a rumor, she didn't actually say
Yeah,
it?
she didn't.
It was proven she didn't actually.
Some did. She denied it.
She denied it,
Yeah.
but maybe she said it. No one knows for sure.
Yeah.
So this is politics.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to deny. You know, there's some people, some devotees who are in India. They are like friends of the devotee. They're politicians, and that one of them said the golden rules you always deny.
Yeah.
Even if someone is accusing, and you did it, even you did it, and you know you did it, but you always deny it. You always deny. That's the golden rule. Always deny. Even you did it, and people like that, especially in my ignorance and passion, they get like that. They're guilty of so many things. I remember one devotee told me he was working in the supermarket, and someone was stealing, and so the security came and captured that person. They took him to the office and they called the police. And the police came and they said that you were witness stealing. No, it wasn't me. I didn't steal. But here we have the footage on the video. There is this showing you stealing and taking the things. And he looked and said, no, it's not me. That one is not me. That's someone else. But here we can see directly. No, he kept just denying. And so some people say like that. Like some of the big politicians, like the President Trump, he's been known to say that when someone, even they've got it, they say that is a fake video, fake. This is fake news. So the golden rule seems to be just deny. Even you did it, you know you did it, you know, and maybe some other, we did the deny. And unless they have the solid evidence. In this case, this thief in the supermarket, they had the solid evidence. He actually, I believe later on, he was convicted. But he to the last minute, no, that's not me. That's someone that maybe looked like me, but actually is not. You've got the wrong person. But they took him away. So some people, you know, a lot of the stuff in it. So, of course, you know, it's said that now as devotees in ISKCON, we are part of the Sankirtan pastime, fortunately, of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are part of the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So according to our level of commitment and service, we are very fortunate to participate in the Sankirtan pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? Yes.
Actually, there is like the demigods and the demoniac nature. Like we are devotees, we are Vaishnavas. We are trying to do our sadhana bhakti to purify us, but through chanting the Hare Krishna Nama. Like, what can we do? Like, or what can you advise? Let's say, as a devotee, because there are some devotees like, of course, they have demonic nature. They have behavior, different behavior. Their behavior is so strict. Like
They still have some demoniac.
yeah, although we have
We're devotees, but sometimes we act like demons.
yes, Maharaj.
Because we have the leftover from the former life. The mentality is still there. It's like the fan. You turn the fan and the power's off, but there's still some a little bit left. So Krishna, when we come under Krishna, this is explained in different places. When we come under Krishna, we're no longer under the karmic reactions of our former life. But Krishna's, we've taken shelter of Krishna. Krishna takes charge of us. But he knows what is the former mentality. He knows that sometimes you're maintaining attachment to the former mentality, sometimes acting on that also. So then he sees that, and then he gives reaction to his devotee. And it may seem like they're getting some karma. It may seem like they're getting some karma, just like ordinary people get some karma. But actually, the acharyas explain, someone who's serious devotee, getting some reaction, they get some cut, they get some, Krishna sees, and he's just giving some reaction, a lot less than what normally they would have got, but just to push that devotee, to show that, make a lesson for that devotee, and don't become attached to these things. And don't be, so he has the purpose. And so, of course, to overcome these things, you have to be patient, you have to follow, and all the principles of the Krishna consciousness, chanting very nicely, trying to come to the offensive, rather the inoffensive position of chanting. So in the beginning, nam aparad, committing so many offenses, nam vas, clearing, and then sudanam, pure chant. But that comes after long time, sudanam, pure chant. One time, one disciple asked Prabhupada, I'm feeling agitated. Prabhupada said, you chanting all your own? Yes, Prabhupada. Then he said, then your chanting is not pure. You have to try to make your chanting more pure, avoiding offences in the chanting, avoiding anartha. But that takes time. You have to follow under the guidance of the Guru or the sadhus, following Shastra, following the chanting very nicely. One has to have patience, and one has to expect they're going to get some reaction. But that, even though get some reaction, you're not on the top mode. One shouldn't expect that after 6 months, 1 year, you're going to be pure devotee already. Can be, if you surrender everything, and you become, can be, but generally it takes most people a long time. So then you go along very patiently, and just praying to Krishna, and then asking for the mercy of Krishna, of Lord Chaitanya, of the Guru, all the Vaishnavas, and gradually you can be helped. You endeavor, and in Krishna's mercy together, you obtain the desired result. Yeah, I think you had a question? No, I can't hear. Forgive me.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sometimes, we do devotional service for so many years. We do chanting, we do many things already. So why that envious nature is still there? Another example, if the person is still doing devotional service and this and that, but he has a very envious nature to this devotee, that devotee, whatever. So you think they will advance in the spiritual life?
Well, I mean, it's not a question of number of years. That's all right. I can just. Not a question of number of years. It's the question of the quality of devotional service. So someone can be. We find many old devotees from many years before, and still maintaining. And sometimes they go away from the devotion because they're maintaining material attachments. Mentally, if you maintain mentally, then it will come physically after some time. And Krishna sees this one is very holding on, is very determined to hold on. Let him go back again. If he wants like that, he can. So therefore, the advancement will be very slow, very slow. We have the enviousness, and you're still maintaining. You're engaging in showing that envy also. You're committing offence. There's anarthas. There's one thing is anarthas, unwanted habits from before. The next thing is committing offences because of these anarthas. Then, because of your anartha, you're envious, and then you start becoming criticizing the Guru, criticizing the other devotee, criticizing Krishna. You can start criticizing everyone, and that is even worse. That's worse. So when you start committing offences, then Krishna keeps you in the back. And so maybe you're a long time devotee, but you're not making much advancement. Krishna brings those closer who are becoming more pure. But nevertheless, he doesn't forsake anyone. He wants them, but up to them. You want to become more close to me. You want to become more pure. Therefore, you have to overcome these anarthas and all the offences that arise from the anarthas. So we have to be very careful. And of course, sometimes we're committing offences, but then how do we act when we commit offence? That's the next thing. All right, we've committed offences. What should we do? What should we do? We have to go to that Vaishnava, beg forgiveness. We have to go to the Guru, beg forgiveness. Just like we come every day and we bow down before Prabhupada. Why is that? Because actually, Prabhupada explained one time that we're bowing down every day to beg forgiveness for any offences we've committed knowingly or unknowingly against the Guru. But some we don't even know. It's just our bad habits. We did something we don't even know we committed. So unknowingly or knowingly, every day we bow down and we worship the Guru, and that mentality, and even in the song, in the prayer, and the begging forgiveness, how the Guru is all merciful. So the way to overcome is, in general, vanchakalpatarubhyascha, we pay our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, beg forgiveness for any offences, and then specifically if we do something against someone, we have to go to that devotee and beg forgiveness. But these are the things that are holding us back. These things, anartha and offences, and the complications from that. And so I always tell devotees, sometimes I go to different temples and the devotees are fighting with one another. I said, be very careful. And they're fighting over the disagreement about how to do something. I said, let's sit down very calmly and talk about that, how to resolve this issue. But if you fight with another, that's worse. That's worse than the original issue. The original issue, maybe you have disagreement, how to do this, how to do that, one's got a different opinion. But when you fight, oh, that's offensive, then that is that is much worse than what is the original problem. So that destroys whole communities for a long time. And we've seen time and time again. But unfortunately, quite often they're so worked up and they're hearing the advice from the senior devotees who've seen it before. And so all of us, whether senior or junior or whatever, we have to be careful for these things. We have to avoid these things. But that is the reason we're getting held back. We've been devotee a long time, but we're not going forward very... And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his good explanation is Madhurya Kanda meaning. What is holding us back? You can read from that book, you'll see from the anarthas, and what are the symptoms of those anarthas, and how they overcome them. So try to read that book, Madhurya Kanda. All right, thank you very much. Jai Lord Prabhupada ki
Jai.
His Holiness Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Very nice. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.